Thank y'all for being here this morning. Let me see. I'm trying to figure out if I want to recap all these stories. We went through so many stories this morning. So, yeah, we talked about Darius Miles, the University of Alabama basketball player, who, yeah, which is a sad story. This man had his whole entire life ahead of him, but instead of him just doing the right thing, he ends up mad and rejected because Jamia Harris rejects his plea because she's out on the strip with her boyfriend in town visiting for her boyfriend. So the two suspects have been arrested, and we caught we I I played the little clip of him and his.
You imagine, man. I swear, way more than you imagine.
Sickening, sickening. So this man's whole life has gone down the drain. I also talked about the woman who froze to death along with her two young sons, and you got to get that story earlier in the live, but apparently this woman had been struggling with some mental health issues. Families didn't witness the sign. Families did not call 911 either. Please hit the replay so you can catch that story. The daughter, 10-year-old daughter, walks to the nearest place. After they woke up the next day, the daughter was the only one who woke up, walks, and that's how this story picks up. So please hit that replay. The third story we talked about was this deaf woman who was found in New York City after living on the subway for 3 weeks. Now, it's crazy because she left her family's home the day before Christmas and somehow she fell outside in 18-degree weather. A man picked her up, took her to the nearest hospital. That hospital released her that same day, which was Christmas Eve at 2 a.m., out into the streets. And for 2 weeks, because she was deaf and nonverbal, she had just been roaming the streets. And so the family finally, 2 days ago, finally was able to capture her. So y'all got to catch the details of that story. And I'm glad she's came home. That was earlier part of the live. We talked about this Missouri man who he offed his wife and in-laws because they wouldn't leave his home. You got to catch that crazy one at the beginning of this live. We also talked about how the woman arrested for stabbing boyfriend for wetting the bed in Louisiana. Now they have been out all night long partying, comes home, they're in the bed. She feels warm pee, and she goes off. And at her part of going off is stabbing him. So I put more details in the earlier part. You got to get into that. We also talked about this Philadelphia woman who was shot in riding an Uber because not only was they facing road rage, but she got an Uber driver who's tolerating it and trying to move around as well. And so she was shot in her thigh. He actually drove her to the hospital. So you gotta check that out at the beginning. And if you are part of the replay crew and you made it this far, thank you so much. Please hit the like button. Please hit the like button. Show me some love this morning. And I also kicked off Hot Topics with TJ Holmes. Baby, how allegedly, now this is all allegedly, okay, how TJ Holmes and Amy Robach, they out. Baby, ABC said, look, we done. Y'all too much of a distraction. So in lieu of that, they're lawyering up, and they're lawyering up under the auspices that this is a race. They're pulling the race card. They're invoking the morals clause and saying that this wouldn't be the same if I was a white anchor. And remember, I said I originally thought this was a sexist thing, that they were treating Amy Robach differently than them treating him because of a man. But he's saying he's saying it's a racist thing because your treatment of me wouldn't be the same as a white man, instead of him focusing on that white woman. Why they doing you different than her? She did no different than anybody else. She slept with you. You're her coworker. They should be investigating who else she slept with there too. But y'all got to get into that replay of what we talked about earlier. I also got into this nasty Kevin Gates and his fetishes. We examined his fetish for pimples and then recently his fetish for urine. And at this point, it's lost for me. I don't even want to hear the lyrics of your new music. We talked about 21 Savage and how 21 Savage got into a heated argument on Clubhouse. Ridiculous. Okay. And in that argument, he tells the guy he's gonna, you're gonna die. We smoke 30. Every time somebody on our team gets smoked, we smoke 30 of y'all. Who's smoking? What? Wait, what? Huh? Notes. You used to how many people and where was this at? Feds are watching, bro. You are not that safe just because you just released the album with Drake. Drake ain't that powerful. Y'all gonna stop thinking Drake is God. That's what y'all gonna stop doing. You think Drake got you? You think Drake got your back, don't you? Drake ain't got your back. Um, and then I ended this show on Cardi B interview with Jason Lee. Now the actual interview does not come out until the Jason Lee show premieres tonight on Revolt TV at 10 p.m. And we will be here to talk about that early in the morning. Again, I thought she looks. I got to give props what they do. I thought she looked really, really good. So shout out to her and shout out to Jason Lee for getting his show moved from YouTube and on to a streaming platform. Because initially, I was saying, what you gonna do another YouTube show under another name? Like what? But no, you upstage it. Okay, so I'm watching. I'll stay tuned. Listen, if you didn't catch the earlier part of the live, I did go into an MLK session and I specifically focused on Martin Luther King's message around economic disparities because I want us to stay tuned to our own economic disparities. It's a $220 billion annual disparity between Black wages today and what they would be in a scenario of full parity. So I talked about that at the beginning of the live, and it was really important to me because I missed Dr. Martin Luther King yesterday due to my own I was having a bad day yesterday. I overextended myself. Got to catch that at the beginning of the live. And then we talked about this statue and how, Boston resurrected this statue based off of Martin Luther King's hug with Coretta Scott King. However, people said it looked like a penis. And as you see more of the statue, it's like the only way you can really see it is from above. And who's standing that high of a statue? And so they spent $10 million on resurrecting that in Boston. So I talked about that at the opening of the show. And shout out to y'all. Thank y'all for being here this morning. I really, really appreciate it. And I will see y'all again in the morning. Thank y'all for being here. I appreciate it so much. And the love on the likes. I really, really do. Drop crowns and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Deuces.